Hello everybody, this is Ryan, and I'm back for another video for AEP858 Data and Assessment. This time we're going to talk about module number 8, the case study. This is your final module for this course. So if you're listening to this video, you've made it. You've done a great job. I appreciate your hard work. Let's finish strong and get this case study completed. Let's take a look at it. So for this case study, you're going to see 3 documents right here when you open up the module. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one is your directions. So make sure you print this out and you follow the directions. So for this case study, you're going to make a presentation and you're going to use Google Slides, or you can use Prezi or Powtoon. I don't really care. I would prefer Google Slides because that's the cleanest, and I would really prefer you not spend a ton of time the development of this presentation. Just get in there and get it done. So for this module, you need to make sure that you have a slide for each section. I'll talk about the sections here in a minute. But you need to have a title slide for section 1, or I'm sorry, a title slide. You need to have a slide for section 2, and please make sure you label each slide clearly with this section. So you're going to go through this, and you're going to do that. Take a look at these directions. When you get your presentation made, you're going to make a video of it using Screencastify, and you're going to post it. The big thing is here, your narrated presentation should be less than 15 minutes. If it's more than 15 minutes, you're going to lose some points. So you need to work on and practice and make sure you're being concise and getting everything covered, but it needs to be less than 15 minutes. So that's the directions slide. We'll come back to it in just a little bit. Here's your actual case study. So read through this. Now the big thing about this is in this case, this is dealing with a principal, but what I want you to do is, as you're reading this, I want you to approach this case study from the leadership perspective that you want to be. If you want to be a principal, that's fine. If you want to be a counselor, that's fine. If you want to be a reading specialist or an instructional coach or something like that, approach this module as though Mr. Rhodes is you in the role that you want to assume. You don't have to be a principal to do this case study. You can approach this from any perspective or any leadership role you want to have as a future leader. So that's big. If you don't want to be a principal, don't put the principal hat on just to do this. If you want to be a counselor, do this case study as though you're a counselor and what you would do in terms of that. So take a look at this case study, read through it, print it out, mark it up. Hope you enjoy it. It's a pretty good little case study. Let's go to the next one. So the next one will be your rubric. It's important that you take a look at the rubric. Now, in the directions back here, I mentioned the section. So you're going to have your title slide, which is your name, etc. You'll have slide 2 will be section 1. If you go to the rubric, section 1 is summarize the case study, establish the facts. So what I would do is I would copy this header right here, just like that, copy that and paste that on the header of my slide, and then put your information on there. And do the same thing for slide number 2. This right here should match exactly to the slide. If you need more than one slide for each section, that's fine. You can do that. Just put a continued on there. But make sure that each slide is labeled. You'll go down through this. You'll see there's many different pieces here. One thing that's typically missed with my students is under the evaluate your options sections. It's good to have pros and cons there. And make sure that when you list your pros and cons, you're considering different perspectives. Not just your perspective, but what your teachers might think, what your parents might say. Things like that. So consider multiple perspectives and make sure you have a decent number of pros and cons for each one of your options. The other thing here is the standard integration. So as you're working through this, you're going to be coming across your standards. As you put a piece from the standard into your presentation, please make sure you highlight them that in some way. What I prefer to do is that there's a piece in there where you're talking, let's say, for example, process for gathering, synthesizing, and evaluating data. If you're going to talk about using data as one of your options, highlight that in your presentation, just like this. Go in your presentation, click on it, highlight it, and go to your pencil and color it yellow. That'll allow you to highlight the parts from the standard throughout your presentation. There shouldn't be a slide that just talks about your standards. This one is throughout your presentation. So make sure you're doing that. And then, like I said, number 11, the big thing about that would be your length. Make sure that you have good grammar, you follow the directions, your slides are labeled like I've told you to, and make sure your presentation is less than 15 minutes. Like I said, the big thing is where people get trapped or mixed up is that they don't follow these directions. They don't have slides for each section. You should have a slide that's clearly labeled for each section. Slide 2 is section 1. Section 1 corresponds to section 1 of the rubric. That slide or slides should talk about these pieces. And then here's your rubric. So again, that's my biggest piece of advice is to follow the directions, follow your rubric, and get it done in less than 15 minutes. If you have questions about the case study, please let me know. I'll talk to you later. I've enjoyed our time together. I hope you have a good time. If you need something, let me know.